Okay, I hope you all are doing well with Johnny Jump Up Flower Elixir. This is the 4th week, and I just wanted to give a little bit of voice to the support blend, the Fierce Compassion, that we are supporting ourselves with this month that goes hand in hand with the elixir we're working with. I know we've covered breaking routines, doing things out of the ordinary, being more spontaneous, allowing yourself to speak more expressively, finding ways to experience more of yourself and especially the imperfect parts. And this is where fierce compassion comes in, because a lot of us have some pretty deep seated childhood patterns of wanting to be perfect. Whether that's, our parents in school, our upbringing, we have questions about, our perfection and where we belong and if we're lovable and if we're safe. These are all like areas of fierce compassion, the blend, and all the flowers that are in that blend. The childhood parts of us that think that we shouldn't take up a lot of space, that we shouldn't cause a ruckus, we shouldn't make a mess, we shouldn't be too loud or brash or harsh or too wild or out of the box, that it's safer to just stay in a little routine, in a little box. It's just safer to do what everyone else is doing and live up to this idea of whatever we think is perfection. The parts of us that are wary about breaking the mold and that are simply operating on some childhood programming around having it all together and just being perfect, but also kind of wondering, where do I belong and am I lovable? And it's like the same sort of, in order to be more powerful, we have to let more energy pass through our system, which means embracing all of the parts of ourselves that are raw and messy and chaotic, because that's where the power is. In Tibetan Buddhism, they actually talk about the different, they have it all so eloquently said, where each afflictive emotion has exact opposite sort of type of energy. Like, for example, if you experience anger and rage, on the other side of that anger and rage is its incredible penetrating clarity. And if you process this energy in the correct way, what starts out as something that's rage and anger can be channeled into this incredibly penetrating clarity. So none of the wild emotions that we experience are bad. In our culture, especially in the West, we are taught to suppress, actually probably in the East too, we're taught to suppress big, wild emotions, or simply that we are not given the tools to let them move through us and to embrace them with compassion and understanding. So part of being bigger in the world is having to face those childhood, deep-seated parts of ourselves that don't want to make a mess, that don't necessarily want to be seen as somebody who's wild and bold. Sometimes that's scary. Sometimes it's unpredictable. Sometimes we worry that we'll be abandoned or that people won't like us anymore if we really are the full extent of ourselves. Or what if we make a mistake? Or what if we say something that we regret? Or what if we blurt out something and then we feel bad or like we're going to lose a friend or a loved one? Those are all things that fierce compassion can really, really assist with. So if any of that starts to arise when you start coming out of your shell and being more bold and outrageous and expressive and speaking your mind, if you have a little bit of then definitely apply fierce compassion anointing oil to your pulse points and to the acupressure point. I recommend doing that every day. The points that Erin recommends to really facilitate the ability for the flower elixir to move through and not have any hindrance or obstacle from patterns. So these two are the ones. They're really good. I hope that you've had an interesting experience And I would say on this final week of working with the two blends to contemplate what it means to be a wilder version of yourself. The risks that are involved, and maybe on the other side of risk is exhilaration. And that you can work with fierce compassion alongside this little wild pansy to unlock parts of your heart that may have been contracted. Now's the time. If not now, then when, right? We're all in this together.